Hey, Nation, back with Marvin B from the Southern California area. Marvin, how you doing after that hurricane in particular? You doing okay?
I'm doing pretty good. We made out just fine. And actually, every single one of my clients made out just fine. So that's probably a first for these South Florida hurricanes.
Yeah. Well, hey, you made quite an impact up on social media, at least on my feed, with the post that you made, LinkedIn in particular. You had your show. It's been a while since we talked about that. What's the name of the show? Where was it? And then I want a full show report.
Okay. So yeah, we probably haven't talked about that. So the current name is Uncle Marv's IT Business Podcast.
Oh, the
And
podcast. Oh
yeah,
no, I was thinking your conference.
oh, the conference.
Yeah, and forgive me for calling it a show because you're right. The
Well,
conference.
it probably was a show to some people, but you might be speaking of TechCon Unplugged.
Yeah,
With
that's it.
Okay, so it's not really my show. It's actually put on by the gentleman over at MSP Unplugged, another great little podcast. So Paco and Rick are the people that put that together. They did ask me to, in a sense, host or MC the event. So that's probably why it probably gave off the fake appearance as my event, but it was not.
Okay. Well, talk to me. So it was that was in Chicago, right?
Yes, it was.
And the
And
month of September?
September, the 16th through the 18th. And it's basically a smaller conference, and it is designed, for MSPs by MSPs. About half of the speakers are actually members of the community. And we share, very pertinent topics relating to our business, everything from pricing, how to set up a Wi-Fi network. We talk about, contracts and agreements and all of that stuff. And then we do have vendors that come in,
Of
and,
course.
of course, we've got to get the bills paid or else they would be too expensive. But it's a very great conference. The vendors are not coming in, to sell, but they're there to partner with us. And, they do need to obviously make some sales, but they want to hear what the community feedback is, and, why certain companies make certain decisions, and what are some of the things that, we want to try to communicate. A lot of times at the bigger conferences, we get kind of preached to.
Yeah, sure
But
do.
in this particular conference, Paco has made a very good job of, making it to where this is a hand in hand, arm in arm partnership in the community.
No, that's a fresh take, and you're absolutely right. We're back in show business, as it were. I've gone to a couple of shows in a couple of different industries, and you're absolutely right about being preached to or spoken to from the stage with the vendors. That they can't help themselves sometimes, and I see that on my podcast where I'm trying to have an academic conversation about the industry, and you've seen this too, these people that can't help themselves, all of a sudden they're talking about speeds and feeds and functions and features, and I'm just like, this is agony.
Yeah. But I will say this. So I just actually got back from the final ASCII Success Summit
Oh,
this
no
year.
kidding.
And, ASCII's done a great job as well, trying to get the vendors to not just simply get up on stage and sell. They actually did, I consider it phase one of their push to have vendors be more educational while up on stage, giving us, not just the reasons why their product is the one that solves the issues, but, describing the issues to us and describing their perspective on what we as a community should do, when it comes to things like cybersecurity and keeping customers for life and those types of things. So this conference this year, I could see a difference where I'd say about half of the vendors were spot on with,
At the event you had in Chicago.
so at the Chicago, and then the one that ASCII did, and I just came back from Dallas. But I
Right.
think they were spot on. Half of them were spot on with being educational and not just simply pushing product. Some of them still, have a ways to go. It's hard for a salesperson to stop selling. So
Yeah,
I think a
that's
lot,
what I was saying.
yeah, I think a lot of conferences are following suit with what TechCon has started. I mean, there may be other conferences that have done that, but I have not been a part of them. TechCon was the first conference that I've attended and, helped to put on, that has simply said, we want to be a partnership, share the stage with us and walk hand in hand with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I just got back from, I covered last week. So last week would have been the first week of October, folks. I covered Solar Winds Enable Empowered down in Las Vegas, and I'll bounce off you a little bit. I mean, don't kid yourself. It was a vendor conference. Okay, I'm not going to mislead you. And they're a publicly traded company, which comes with another little twist. But what I liked about it, I've grown to like this conference a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And I've gone to them pretty much every year, except COVID. And so they had a 3-year pause, but I scratched my head, it was a smaller event for our industry. It was maybe 300 in Orlando, maybe 6 vendors. This show was 500, and I'm going to say maybe 12 or 15 vendors. And here's what I've learned, Marvin, is that they don't want to be IT Nation, right? They don't want to be DattoCon. They want to be a smaller event. Again, it's all relative, but a smaller, more intimate event. And I've come to like that. I just had to get the memo. I just had to understand, because it would have been easy to say, oh, IT Nation's bigger, but that's the wrong conversation. It was more about the intimacy.
Yeah, I think there's a different conversation. I think the big conferences have their place. I might be attending IT Nation coming up here in November. And you just have more opportunities to see more stuff at the bigger conferences. But the smaller conferences have more time for what I can consider as the ultimate peer groups. They're not assigned peer groups. You don't have to commit, once a week or, once a month for an hour or 2 hours. But it's those sidebar conversations that you can have with somebody and talk about, hey, here's how my business is running. What's your business like? And you can have those heart-to-heart conversations. So the smaller conferences, I think, offer more opportunities for that, but the big conferences obviously still have their place.
Yeah. Yeah. You need both. I mean, if I want to go collect t-shirts and backpacks, the big conferences, nothing like them, but I have too many backpacks now, right? I gotta go to the school now and hand some out to kids or something.
I'm gonna start a wall of stuff. I'm gonna have t-shirts hanging from the rafters, and it's gonna be pretty much of a swag shop here when I get done.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll end on this. I am going to be at Acronis down the street from you at the Fountain Blue in Miami. They're back. So yes. The Acronis thing is it's a weird week. I'll really end on this. So the week of November 7th through the 11th, folks, first full week of November, Ingram One and Acronis collided. There are 2 major, I would have liked to have gone to both, but they collided and I committed to Acronis. Then on Wednesday afternoon, late Wednesday afternoon, I hop a plane to IT Nation up in Orlando. So I'll hopefully see you there.
Yep. I mean, yeah, that was a big week too, because another one of my partners just announced a big old event that they're doing right here in my backyard. And so, 4 events in 1 week. Now, some of it, I just believe, is just the COVID hangover. We're finally able to get back out. And so people are scheduling. I hope that next year they're not all on top of each other.
I know.
But I'll see you at one of those.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks for being one of our analysts. We'll talk to you next quarter, and I'll see you live in November.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.